Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna ilma walhamdulillahi ala kulli hal. So here we are with our session number 53, which is actually 54, but since we could not record one of the sessions, so we will just treat it as 53. And if you have seen, I have put the last recording under session number 52 as well, because there was no recording for 52. So, and we mainly did review in session number 53. So it is 53 again. So the number does not matter. Let's just learn. And the reason I'm telling you the number is so that you know which recording to watch when you are trying to find something and preparing for your test, inshallah. Okay. So let's just start with today. I'm going to do review afterwards, and I have to finish fail with a few haruf and by teaching you the sequence of Jumla Failya, inshallah. And then we'll do some practice of that, inshallah. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So in Arabic, we have learned so far that our present tense, which is fail mudare, it can convey the meaning of present and future. It encompasses both. If I add noon mushaddida to my fail mudare, which is noonu tawqeed, al-sakila, or if I add noon khafifa, at-tawqeed, to my fail mudare, these two noons are going to push my meaning to future. They take the meaning to future. I hope this was all clear to all of you, that if I see any fail mudare with noon mushaddida, I have to translate it in future. If it does not convey meaning in future, I cannot use noon mushaddida, or in other words, I cannot use noonu tawqeed, because there are other mushaddad noons as well that we have learned in the past. So now there are few haruf that you will come across in Quran when they are used with fail mudare. Also, in that case, you are going to translate your mudare in future. And these haruf are seen and sofa. Have you ever seen this scene in Quran? Type 1 if you have seen that. Yes, right? Seen and sofa, we have seen in Quran, right? Kalla sayalamun innal ladhina kafaru bi ayatina sofa nuslihim nara. So this sofa and seen, if you see these two before your fail mudari, make sure now you translate your fail mudari in future. Now it is not going to remain present anymore. It is going to be translated in future. Ya'lamuna means they know. So translate it with seen. Who is going to be able to translate it with seen? Since I'm telling you that when you see seen or sofa before your fail mudari, you are going to push the meaning. It is going to take the meaning to future only now. How will be the translation of sayalamun? Soon they will know. Very well done. Very well done. And the soon can come because of, when there is a according to scholars, some of them, one is for near future and one is for future that that is still, there is some time for it to come. So if there is a scene in the beginning, it is small, it means it is for near future, and this is for relatively, compared to this scene so far, is for distant future. Is it clear, my dear sisters? Alhamdulillah, everyone will understand that you may not see this soon in your translation, but everyone should be able to interpret it, because the reason you are here in this class is that you have to comprehend Quran, because the meanings that are not conveyed through your translation, you should be able to understand those. I hope this is all clear. So if you see seen, it is going to be near future. If you see sofa, it is going to be relatively later future, but both are going to be always in future, okay? So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying Sofa nuslihim. So nusli means to put someone in fire. So, or to burn somebody else now. So how will you translate? Sofa nuslihim nara. Nusli. What is the pronoun here in this fail? Where is the pronoun? It is nahnu. Nahnu. Nusli. Nahnu. It is fail mudariya because swad, lam, ya or waw are the root letters. Noon is just alamatul mudare. Alamatul mudare. But this alamatul mudare guides you. It gives you a hint towards it. The damir mustatir, because mustatir damir is not visible, right? Damir is not visible in this case, so you figure it out by the presence of noon. When it is alamatul mudari, then your pronoun that is hidden is we, nahnu. So we shall soon burn. What is him doing here? What is him? It is them. We shall soon burn them. So yes, it is them, attached pronoun, and it's going to be maf'ul bihi. Very well done. And what is nara? Nara. Another maf'ul. Everyone agrees? Soon we shall make them burn in the fire, or we shall burn them in fire. Make sense or no? And we shall, how comes this we shall come? You know that because now sofa is there, I can only translate it in future, right? Sofa is there, I'm going to translate it in future. Okay, kafaru. What is this? Kafaru. It's a past tense. Doer. Who is the doer? Absolutely right. Fail madin. Who is the doer? Wow is the doer, and wow is a pronoun or a harf or what? It's a pronoun. Remember, your doer cannot be a harf, right? It has to be a pronoun or an ism. It cannot be a harf. It has to be an ism, and it is for third person masculine, right? In case of madin, it denotes your third person masculine. Barakallahu feek, my dear sisters. So that was that. Everyone will now know what are the two situations when you will definitely translate your fail mudare in future. Can you enumerate those two cases when you are always going to translate your fail mudare in future? See, sofa, these are the two. This makes one case, right? Haruf, this, because now you're going to translate your fail mudariya into future. So the word for future in Arabic is mustaqbal. The word for future in Arabic is mustaqbal. So these haruf therefore are called haruf istiqbal. Haruf istiqbal. Everyone with me so far or no? Understood? Why are we calling them haruf istiqbal? Because these are the haruf. When they are going to be seen with my present tense or mudari tense, it is definitely going to be now translated in future. Okay, seen wa sofa. Seen wa sofa. Seen is going to be near future, sofa relatively distant future, you can say, compared to seen. So now, what was the other thing? What was the other harf that you learned? Yes, that was what I was coming to. So if you see noon mushaddada at the end of your fi'l mudari, you are going to translate your fi'l mudari in future. Remember that, because noon khafifa is hardly seen. It is only seen twice, right? And it is in the form of tanween, right? La yakunan is also going to be translated in future. Keep that in mind as well. It is noon khafifa, but is written with tanween. So you just remember, my noon tawkid. If your noon tawkid is seen at the end of the mudari, you are going to translate that mudari in future. Two cases. No, I want everyone to memorize these two cases. Haruf istiqbal, future. Noon tawkid added to the end of mudari, future. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, so now let's learn what is the sequence in Jumla failure. Are these all look familiar? Have you ever seen them? Everything familiar? Fail, file, maf'ul, mutalik bil fail. Everyone has been taught, or I'm not bringing something new to you by all, right? Everything has been taught. So you have learned how many types of fail? How many types of fail you have learned? So if somebody can, just tell me. Fail amr, we have learned madin, mudare, and amr, right? So these all were your fail that you have learned. So every fail, if I am not wrong, what is every fail? What is something that every fail must have? A doer or a pronoun? Because in case of majhul, that may not remain doer. So if you just say pronoun, you have to you have to have a pronoun. In case of majhul, will the doer be known? What happens in case of majhul in Arabic? Yeah, so every field has one thing inbuilt in it, which is pronoun. If you use pronoun, it is for sure your answer is correct, right? But we usually, when we start talking, we are talking about ma'loom. Majhul is something we talk about later on, but we have gone over fi'l ma'loom, majhul, which could be mudare, madin, and then we learned fi'l amr. Every fail has to have a pronoun, or in case of fail will we say that it's not going to be a doer? In case of amr, do we failul amr? In a standard failul amr, is a doer known? Yes or no? Nothing French, right? Yes, we know that our doer is always going to be second person. Because we use second person mudare, barakallahu feek. That's why we know who the doer is. Which should never be that we don't know the doer. We know the doer, right? It's a second person. Barakallahu feek, my dear sisters. So every fail must have pronoun. If you cannot figure it out, too bad. We have gone over it, how sometimes it is hidden, sometimes visible, and by looking at the fail, every one of you, my dear sisters, should be able to figure out the pronoun or the doer of the fail, if it is other than huwa hiya, because huwa hiya can have an outside doer as well. So then comes maf'ul, and your most common maf'ul is what? In 80-90% of cases when we were practicing, you have maf'ul bihi. Everyone agrees, or if somebody has disagreement, kindly raise your hand today and I will want to hear from you, and it's going to be adding to my information, and which is very limited, right? Everyone agrees that the most common maf'ul that we come across is maf'ul bihi, right? So in a regular jumla failure, the sequence should be like this: fail, file, maf'ul. Make sense or no? If you have learned jumla failure in the past, you must have been taught this. For Aisha, or for all of those who are learning it for the first time, it should be very clear that this is a normal sequence of your jumla failure, where you will see fail, then comes your file, and then comes your maf'ul bihi. This is the normal jumla. Sometimes file may not be outside, so it is going to be within the fail. So anyways, it's going to be along with the fail, like we just saw here. What did we see? Kafaru, right? In kafaru, we have a fail with the file. Ru. And if you technically look at this, isn't the file after the fail? Do you all agree or no? I always tell you that attached pronoun is going to attach itself to the end of the word. So don't confuse alamatul mudare with the file, because attached pronoun always comes towards a or a doer pronoun is always towards the end of the fail. So now everything is clear. It's always towards the end of the fail anyways, right? And otherwise, in those cases where it is hidden, but always going to be towards the end of the fail. So it further makes the evidence that stronger, that your fail is number one, and then comes your file, and then comes your maf'ul bihi or mutalik will fail, whatever. What is included in mutalik will fail? Because there was still some confusion I was noticing in our last few sessions. So who remembers what is mutalik will fail? What are you going to label as mutalik will fail in jumla failure at this stage? Zarf idafa or jar majroor, okay, or plain zarf as well. Yeah, jar majroor, zarf or zarf idafa. Sometimes zarf may be by itself, like yom may be standing by itself, or there may be other zuruf that you will see that are just standing by themselves. Nothing, there is no idafa formation, but still they are going to be labeled as. If you see any zarf or zarf idafa, both, you are going to, if anything is related to time and place, or if a ism is in idafa formation, zarf idafa formation, you are going to label it as, you can label it as mutalik will at this stage, okay? And if there is a jar majroor that is easy, you can label it as mutalik will fail, okay? So then there is sometimes, there are cases when you will see that your maf'ul bihi is going to be before your file, okay? There are cases when you will see maf'ul bihi before your file, okay? And when does this happen? Do you notice when there is a attached pronoun attached to the end of the fail, right? When the attached pronoun is attached to the end of the fail, then it is going to be before the outside doer, okay? It can have both. It can have both. And it can have one of them as well. To answer your question, so there is a question, jumla fi'liya can have either maf'ul bihi or mutalik bil fi'l. No, it can have both maf'ul bihi and mutalik bil fi'l. Remember that. It can have both of them. But the order is fail, file, mutalik bil fail, or maf'ul bihi, whichever is present. Okay, remember that. Or it is either or. It does not, they are usually, in terms of sequencing, in terms of sequences, they both are towards the end, okay? In the sequence, slash is just to show that they both should be after your fail file comes your maf'ul or mutalik, okay? Yeah, sometimes there may be one of them, and some jumla failure may not have both of them, and some may have both of them. Okay, so now coming back to the topic, when it is mandatory or wajib for maf'ul bihi to be muqaddam. Muqaddam means it is before your muqaddam, it is before your file. It is before your file. In what happens when you have an attached pronoun? Every time you see an attached pronoun, your doer is after. Do you notice? Nasara ni Muhammadun. Translate this. Nasara, everyone should be able to now translate. Because we learned this, our conjugation on with this root letter. So he helped, yes, Nasara is he helped, translate the whole sentence. Whole sentence. I need the whole translation. Nasarani Muhammadun. Okay. Muhammadun. Muhammadun. Right. Muhammad. Now your damir mustatir that was there in Nasara is going to be cancelled because there is an outside doer. So you're not going to worry about your mustatir, right? Damir mustatir is going to be cancelled, fired, erased because of Muhammadun. There's a, ism after the fail that has taken over. Now he is not going to be there anymore. So it is going to be Muhammad help me. Muhammad was a doer, but was a file, but is it now following the sequence that I told you? Fail, file, maf'ul bihi? No. Now what happened is, I'm going to tell you. Now what happened is your maf'ul bihi is before your file. Muqaddam means to bring something before. Mu'akhar means to bring something after. So taqdeem means bringing something forward. Tahir means to delay something. In Urdu we use tahir as well, right? Zara tahir ho gayi. देर हो गई, to delay something. Everyone with me so far? So in this case, when your maf'ul bihi is damir, is it what is your maf'ul bihi here? What do you see here? Pronoun. You have a pronoun here. So when your maf'ul bihi is a pronoun, what will happen? That it is going to be before your file. It is allowed. It is actually mandatory to bring it before, because it attaches itself to the end of the fi'l, right? As a maf'ul bihi. Nasarani Muhammadun. Muhammad helped me. What is this noon here? Is it the part of ya mutakallim, or is it something in addition to ya mutakallim? Who remembers? So is it a part or is it in addition? So is it one word or two words? That's the question. That way, I think it will be easy to figure. There are two words, right? Noon kasra is a harf. Harf, that is noonul waqaya. And it is just there it is doing a protection. Waqaya is the protection. It is a shield. It is shielding your fail from getting a kasra. Make sense? So there are two words, noonul waqaya and ya mutakallim, and it is only there for prevention. So yes, this is your actual maf'ul bihi ya mutakallim. Okay, but it uses noonul waqaya with it so that fail does not get kasrafied. Okay, everyone with me so far? So the first case is you have to bring it before you have to bring maf'ul bihi, your object, before your file, before your doer, if maf'ul bihi is a damir. Okay, and your doer is ism zahir, which is ism zahir means Muhammad. Muhammad is an ism zahir, right? Anything other than pronoun is your ism zahir. Any ism other than your pronoun is ism zahir, right? Because you know who the doer is. Muhammad is the doer, right? There is no ambiguity about it. We did not say he helped me. We said Muhammad helped. Because if I say he helped me, is my doer after me? Think about it. If there was no Muhammad, there was no guy, Muhammad helping, then was the doer after? No. Are you getting my point? Because it is important for us to know that our doer right now is an outside doer, and that doer is literally after this ya mutakallim. Because otherwise, if we did not have an outside doer, then the sequence was correct. The sequence is as it should be, as a standard sequence should be, right? Fail, file, maf'ul. Everyone with me so far? Type 1 if you are, and type 2 if you're totally confused. Okay, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. This is important. Okay. Now, in case of hasr wa kasr, what is that? You don't need to know that at this point, okay? I have simplified it for you. If you have to use word illa in your sentence, and that usually comes with your negation particles like ma, in, la. Illa comes with ma, in, la, and we have done it. We have seen some examples of that, and it is translated as except. So in that case also, it is important, it is wajib, or it is mandatory to bring maf'ul bihi before your file. How does it work? So here can you see ma nasara zaidan? How will you translate it? Ma nasara zaidan. Translate till here for me. No. I don't need a majhul translation. I need a ma'loom translation. He did not help Zaid, right? He did not help Zaid. But now we have to bring exclusivity in our sentence. Now we have to say that, you have to add emphasis. We have to add something to our sentence. We have to spice it up. Okay. So now I have to say, nobody helped Zaid. Nobody helped Zaid except Muhammad. So what do? I will add an illa. Okay. I will add an illa in the sentence, and then I will bring my doer after illa. Okay. So now when you translate this, you will translate it as nobody helped Zaid except Muhammad. Everyone with me so far? So you will see in Quran many sentences like this. So I want you to be prepared how to translate it and how to not get confused. At that point, inshallah, with practice, you should be able to tell. And I'm not saying that everyone will be well versed with this concept today. No, I'm not expecting. I'm just throwing it out there for you to know when I am finishing up my fail, I finish it up, completely, in this, I tried to, I showed you fail with, all different forms of fail. And also, the sequence as well was taught to you that, it was completely done. Every aspect was touched, and we did go over the main points that you need to know. Okay. So Zaidan is in this sentence, is it? Yes, absolutely. Zaidan is Nasban status, right? Ranas, it should be maful bihi. Everyone with me so far? Anyone else has a question about this construction? Ma nasara Zaidan illa Muhammadun. In this construction, your Muhammad, because here you see Muhammad is the only one. You have to show that it was only one and only Muhammad who went out of his way to help Zaid. Nobody did it. Nobody did it but Muhammad helped. So just to bring that exclusivity, just to bring that emphasis that it was, just to make it, special, what did we do? We put an illa, and in this construction, we have to bring maful bihi before. Type 1 if you got it. And this is, as I said, we'll go over this several times, and inshallah, but keep these notes handy somewhere. Don't just, throw them in dumps. No, go back to them so that, this concept is clear. So when the file has attached pronoun that goes back to maful bihi, in that case, also, your maful bihi is going to be before your file. So nasaha al-marida tabibuhu. This ba has the last ba has dhamma because it is a file. So now translate. Nasaha translated as advised. Tabib means doctor. Yeah, the doctor advised the patient, and because this, you don't have to, his doctor, you don't have to go back to it, because technically, it is, we know that this who is going back to al-marid. Okay, this who, his doctor advised marid, this marid, this patient. So there is no reason to say again his doctor advised the patient. No, the doctor advised the patient is working for now, but just notice that this who is going back to what? Al-marid. So therefore what happened was that al-marid had to be first, because you have to have an ism first, and then there is a pronoun that goes back to the ism, right? You have, when I write a essay, I will say Maryam was a Kanita. She used to pray in temple. So can I say she used to pray in temple? Maryam was a Kanita. Will it make sense? If I reverse the order, I bring she first and then I bring Maryam. No, you have an ism zahir first, and then you use a damir, right? You have to have something zahir first. So similarly, in this case, al-marid was ism zahir, right? Because it's not a pronoun, and then you bring a damir referring back to it. So name of the person, and then yes, you use a pronoun that refers, that goes back to that, specific noun. Everyone with me so far? Okay. So just briefly, so another case when it is mandatory to other cases when you are going to bring your maful bihi before your fi'l. This happens when your damir is damir munfasil, like iyaka. Have you ever heard this? Iyaka. Where do we see this? Iyaka. Now, very beloved Surah Al-Fatiha, without which we cannot complete our prayer, right? Not a single rak'ah, a single unit of prayer is finished or completed without this surah, right? It's your salah is not valid if you don't read it, right? Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. So here, if you go back to Surah Al-Fatiha, which we remember used to practice a lot. So how do we translate this Iyaka? Do you see anything here that is familiar, that we have learned? I know I have not taught you Iya, but do you see anything that is known? Yeah, Iya I have not taught yet, right? You have learned Ayu, but not Iya. So Ka is something that, right? Ka is something here that is familiar, right? You can figure out that ka is that attached something. We call it we people used to call it attached pronoun, but I will inshallah one day teach you the grammar of this word. This is actually a damir. Is it attached? Is it nabuduka? Is it na'buduka? No, it is not, right? So this is it regular construction? Does it seem regular to you? Is it following the sequence that we have learned so far? Fail, file, maful. It is not. So when you see this one, it is mandatory to bring it before. If you have to use iya, you have to bring it before your fail. Okay, this is one of the conditions. And yes, it is you we worship, and or it only you we worship. We worship you exclusively. All those translations come, but if the structure is this one, the bein munfasil, then you are going to call it. Then you are going to bring it before your fail. And one interesting thing, what have we learned about our attached pronouns or independent pronouns? What is the status of our independent pronouns always? What were you taught? They're always rough. All the students, old, new, everyone agrees they're always rough. So is it attached in any way? Is this attached in any way, this thing, this structure? Because attached means attached to the end of the fail. Is it attached? Tell me. No, it is not attached, right? So it has to be, in a normal regular construction, like you see here, ihdina. Is na attached pronoun? Yes, it is attached pronoun. Na is attached pronoun. But iyaka, it is standing on its own. So what will you call it? Is it independent or attached? Independent. It is independent, right? This one is independent. Iyaka is independent. And what is the status? What should be the status of iyaka? Without knowing anything about iyaka, what should be the status? Use your concepts now. I want concepts to be applied here that we have learned. It should be nasbin status, right? Sister Amri, right? Agree? Everyone agrees? Despite being independent. So forget about what you have learned in the past. Okay? And when I was teaching you independent pronouns, very basic independent pronouns, if you remember, I told you Go back to the class. That class was viewed by very few people, and that's quite okay with me. That attached or independent pronouns, that these pronouns, the rule that I'm telling you is only applicable to this table that I'm showing you. And then I showed you something else, and then we learned so many other forms of pronouns there where the pronoun was attached and still rough in status. When was the pronoun? When was when there was a pronoun and it was rough in status? Who can tell me when there was a pronoun that was attached and was rough in status? And we have been doing it several times. Is my question very confusing? Is it not a straight question, or do you want me to repeat it or reword it? I can try to simplify it if it is not understood. Hint: what do you see in your fail? What do you see in your fail? Your wow, your noon niswa, your aliful isnain. Is it independent? Is it standing by itself? Huh? No, it is attached. These are all attached, right? And what is the status? What do I call them? What do I call them when the fail is ma'loom? They are rough in status, right? Right? Pay attention to these things. Do not every time make sure that whenever a concept is taught, you understand it the way it has to be understood. Okay, so if I asked you an amta, what do you see here? What kind of a word it is? Let's just do it real quick, and then I will come back to where we started. Anamta, easy. Anamta is madin, fail madin. Where is the pronoun? Is it visible or invisible? Hidden. Mustatir or baris? Ta, visible. And when ta is visible, taul file is visible here, right? So is it standing by itself or is it attached? Baris, right? Baris, everyone agrees, it's visible. It's attached. It is attached, right? You see it attached to the word. It's not separate, attached. So what's the status of taul file? When I'm calling it a file, when it's a doer pronoun, when the fail is ma'loom, it is going to be rough in status. No, it is not here. It is tafata. So it is, if it was an amat, then it was here, but it is an amta. Ta with fata is going to be taul file, and it's anta. And if it is the doer, so it's a ma'loom, so it's a doer here. So every doer is a rough in status. Is it clear to everyone? For those who are confused, because when the test is going to be there, my dear sisters, and I don't want to be among those teachers who are always scaring their students with the test, or because that's not the purpose, my dear sisters. I want you to excel, and the people who have made this class work are you. It's not me. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if something is working, it's your mehnat, your hard work. That is, that we are seeing here. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so now comes your iyaka. Coming back to iyaka. So if it is something like this, your this is your, what should be the status? Some people have figured out the status of iyaka. It was nasbin status, right? It is nasbin status. So this is also just like all your attached pronouns are not nasburjar. Similarly, all your independent pronouns are not rough in status. Will you all remember this? You will apply your common sense too. You will apply your knowledge too. You will apply the concepts you have been taught to, right? Because na'budu is, if it was independent pronoun, if it's rough in status, what is it doing? What is the job? What is the role we are assigning to it, right? What is the role we are assigning to iyaka? Keep that in mind, my dear sisters, that the sentence was na'budu. So because this is damir munfasil, is an independent pronoun. Munfasil, fasala, separate. So when we are using an Arabic terminology, I feel very, feel, I really feel good when somebody asks me, what does it mean? This is Haima, like muqaddam. Not just learning and ratifying Arabic terms, it's not helping. It does not help. Understand the concept, my dear sisters. Okay. So if it is something like that, you are going to, it has to be brought forward, and then it has a different implication when you have changed the sequence. How are you translating it? Everyone has understood it, right? How are we translating it? You have all used this only you we worship and only you we seek for help, right? Inshallah. Okay, now let's go back. So yes, it is Nasbin status. That is independent and that's Nasbin status. And just so that, let me finish. I don't want to confuse anyone. The pronoun here is only iya, according to Siboway. And this name, I taught you, he was the greatest grammarian of his time. In the beginning classes, when I was teaching you numbers, I taught you a very beautiful concept that he, gave us. He left with us that, if there is a word that has a broken plural and a sound plural, then the broken plural is usually a bigger plural or a greater plural. So he also searched on this word as well, and he said that iya is the only thing that is a pronoun here. Ka is the harful khitab, or the harf there, and this ka is referring to you. Yes, it is referring to you, but iya is mainly the pronoun, which is damir munfasil fi mahalli nasbin, because it is non-flexible, right? It cannot show you its status, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, and we have always learned that our damayrs are nouns, but there are cases when they are haruf as well. But that was for another day. But since you asked this, I told you this. Okay. So now let's just go back to what we were doing, inshallah. Okay. And sometimes, if your sentence is beginning with something, with certain asma, certain isms, those isms have to be at the beginning of the sentence. Okay. They're always going to be at the beginning of the sentence. And these asma include, like asma that are related to, that are used as question words, like ma, which is translated as what. Sometimes there is kam that you must have seen in Quran. For those of my sisters who have learned word-to-word translation as well, have you ever come across this word kam? Right? You have all seen this, right? So these are the words that are always going to be at the sadr of the sentence. And sadr is yes, at the beginning of the sentence. Many. How many? And if you have a word like I'm so sorry, my slide just, is little confusing. But if you have ism shart, we have seen some ism shart. If you remember, ma, man, mahma, ainama, haisuma, kaifama, ayana, aina, all those, remember the haruf jazima and a small jazima. So though in, all those, but in is not ism, but the rest one, in was the only harf there. The whole list of asmaul jazima, you can put it here in the shart. Okay, you can call it ism shart. Okay, your question words, your come, your those ism shart. Okay, remember that. Okay, they are always at the beginning of the sentence. So what happens is, if they have to come at the beginning of the sentence, then your maf'ul has to be, at the beginning of the sentence. For example, ma ta'buduna. What is ta'buduna? What is this word ta'buduna? Have you ever learned this word? You only have 15 minutes. It's a mudari. Who is the doer here? Give me the doer. Can you see the doer? What's the status of the doer? Rafin status. Barakallahu. Now, how do you tell me you all? How can you figure it? Because there is another mudari that also has waw in it. How will you differentiate the ta beginning? If it is beginning with ta, it is second person. If it is beginning with ya, it is going to be third person. Everyone with me? What will you worship? Yaqub alayhi salam, about to die, asks his 12 sons, what will you worship? So if I make it, if I have to give i'rab to ma and also ta'buduna, so ta'buduna is going to be what? It's fail mudari, fa'iluhu wawu, right? This one. And then what is ma doing in this jumla failure? What kind of question is this word answering? It is answering your what question, right? It is going to be your maf'ul. So it is going to be, and it has to be at the beginning of the sentence. It is not, giving you any exclusivity. It has to be. It is how this word works. It has to be at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, keep that in mind for now. Then there are certain other words, as we learned this. These are isms, and there is a amma. This word, when this is there, wa amma sa'ila fala tanhar. Wa amma sa'ila. What is sa'ila here? You should not rebuke. You should not rebuke. Who should not you rebuke? And as far as the sa'il, the one who asks, then you should not rebuke. Who is a sa'il? A sa'il bihi, right? Who should we not rebuke? A sa'il, the one who asks for something. Give him. Give him. Okay. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. What is al-yatim doing here? It is again maf'ul bihi for taqhar. Right? And what is taqhar? La taqhar. What is this construction? What is la? What kind of la is this? Munfasil means that is separated, that is not attached. La is la nahiya. Why is it la nahiya? Why are we calling it nahiya? Because of mudari majzoom, right? Mudari after it is majzoom. So who should we not takhar? Al yatim. So yatim is maf'ul bihi for takhar, but it is brought before takhar. It's not following the sequence, but this is how this works. It is mandatory. In this construction, it is mandatory to bring it forward. Everyone with me so far, or no? Alhamdulillah, it makes sense? Okay. Then there was a last one, and I'm, this is another construction, and I think just remember, there will be cases when it is mandatory for maf'ul bihi to be before your fail and file, both of them, and this is the last case when it will happen. The last one, takhar. What do you know? That if there is an amma, this har, amma shartiya, amma, if you see anything like this, amma, and there is a word in nasb status, and then there is a fail, remember that why this is not following the regular pattern. Fala, why is it not fala tanhar sa'il? Why is it not like that? It is because amma is there. This word is there. That made construction to be in the sequence. The sequence that we are seeing we are seeing it because of this harf amma. Ranaz, it is clear or no? Little bit. Yeah, so this is going to be not seen very commonly, but this is just a let me tell you, this is just a beginning of something. You are just being introduced to this concept. You are not going to be tested on this. This is not going to be on your test. This is a concept that I'm not going to test you for, but I will make sure that you practice it enough so that when you read Quran this Ramadan, it makes some difference. Okay, inshallah, because the purpose is the understanding and the clear understanding. Okay, but these four cases are when it is mandatory to bring your maf'ul before your file and fail. I hope everyone was clear with that. Okay. Okay, now let me just take you to Surah Al-Baqarah. And we have done this verse before, but this verse is so beautiful that I think we will learn a lot from this again, inshallah. Okay. Okay, 1 second. I think it was 112, close to 112. Hmm. Yarfau. So I want to see some answers now. I will show you. This is going to be shared, inshallah. Okay, let's just focus here. Yarfau. What do you see here? What is this word? Real quick. Mudare. How do you know it's mudare? What makes you think it's mudare? Yeah, alamatul mudare being there. So alamatul mudare ya being there is nothing after it. There is nothing after it. So mostly it happens when the mir mustatir is there with huwa hiya, right? If it is huwa hiya, we will look for what? What should we look for? Outside doer. Do you find one? Yes. Who is the Ibrahim alayhi salam is outside doer. Now you have a fail, a file. Al-qawaid. Al-qawaid. What do you think? What is al-qawaida? Very well done. It is a broken plural, but what is it doing in the sentence? Yes, it is maf'ul bihi. What was Ibrahim alayhi salam raising? What? It was the foundation. Okay. Now comes your min al bayt. What is min al bayt? First, tell me simple, plain jar wal majroor. So, can I call it mutaliq bil al qawaid? Since foundation from the house makes more sense if I just attach it to the word right before it. And I've been saying that sometimes you may attach your mutaliq bil or your jar wal majroor to the ism right before it. Does it? Will it be okay if I just say that it is attached to it is mutaliq bil al qawaid? Agree? Hmm? Makes sense? Everyone makes sense? It's clear to everyone. Wa Ismail. What is happening here? No, it's all going to be together. It's all going to be together. Al-Qawaid is going to be your maful bihi. Min al-bayti is going to be mutaliq bil al-qawaid. Wa Ismailu. Now tell me, are you going to call it your doer or what are you going to call it? Label it properly. Label it properly. You are going to call it waw atf. You are going to call waw atf. And what are you going to call Ismail? And you call it that, and I know that he also did something. Matuf, right? Matuf ala Ibrahim. Makes sense to everyone? I hope this is clear that how you are going to connect everything. If you don't even write doer there, it is understood. When Sister Faiza has written Matuf ala Ibrahim, it is understood. I know that she knows that he also took part in this raising of foundation from the house. Is it clear? And do not forget your at fragment. It's the most important fragment that has been taught. It has so many implications that is beyond, it's amazing how it, how things are, going to be clear and all that, inshallah. Okay, now comes your another construction, Rabbana. Let's just do some of it and then, see how much we can. It's an idafa. We have not learned how are going to we label it in another way. So we'll leave it as such as idafa. That's fine, and that's the right answer. Taqabbal. What does taqabbal do here? It is an amr. Barakallahu feek, my dear sisters. Who is the doer here? Or you can call it Fi'lu dua, right? Because when we are calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we are asking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we make dua and we talb, right? We do talb from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We only ask him very humbly, right? So it is going to be, it is the mir is mustatir. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. The mir is al-damir al-mustatir. Okay, taqabbal, you accept, but the mir is mustatir. Remember that. This ta is a part of the family. Remember, my dear sisters, there are different usages of ta word. Okay, so this ta here is the part of the family. So taqabbala, yataqabbalu, tataqabbalu. From tataqabbalu, you drop one ta. So that ta, that is alamatul mudari, gets dropped. Remember the steps of formation of Felul Amr or Felul Dua or Felul Talb. So, and then when you remove Mudare, then when you remove Alamatul Mudare, that now your word is not Mudare anymore. Now it is in the process of being Felul Amr. The next step is you make it Majzoom. And you can make it Majzoom in 3 different ways, right? And you should know all those 3 different ways how you can make Fail Majzoom. Here it is Majzoom bis Sakoon, right? By the presence of Sakoon. And it happens when when we are using a fail that has a pronoun that is the mir mustatir anta, right? Everyone with me so far or no? Type 1 if you are. How many failul amr have you learned that have the mir mustatir? How many failul amr? You have 6 failul amr, right? When you use second person, you have 6 failul amr formed from that. A regular standard failul amr, I'm asking. How many of them have damir mustatir? 1, only 1. Anta is damir mustatir. Rest all are visible in the form of alif, waw, ya al-mukhataba, again alif, and nunun niswa in case of hunna, right? Everyone with me so far or no? If you go back and you make sure how to construct your fail, it's not going to be hard for you to remember that which pronoun is there and all that. Okay, now let's just do one more verse and let's see if we are, no, I don't have time for that, but let's see how much we can get done. Okay, okay, sure. Waj'alna, just real quick, do this. Waj'alna fi'lu dua or fi'lun amr. Is the sequence correct here? Na is maf'ul bihi. Sequence correct? Right? As it should be. Muslimaini. Can we call it another maf'ul? Maf'ul bihi thani. Make us 2 Muslims. And again, is any problem with sequence here? No, right? Yeah. So let me stop the recording here. Inshallah, we'll continue our practice with our next session. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I will have to stop recording.